This is Weekly Woman by Jubilance for PMS. From San Diego to the cold winters of Michigan, and then to New York City, where she lives in an amazing Brooklyn townhouse now, Elana has circulated all over the U.S. to pursue her love of theater admin. Currently in development in the New York office of a prominent London theater company, she's still working during COVID to find funding for the arts. Last year, she ran the New York Marathon, her first marathon in record time, and she loves all things Mamma Mia, National Treasure, The Bachelor, and pug-related. Welcome, Elana Lantry!
Thank you.
Okay, so we start off this podcast with some, weird questions. Can you tell me about your love for Nicolas Cage?
All of his movies are, pretty atrocious. My favorite is National Treasure, and it's like if you took an 8th grader after just finishing U.S. history and had them write the plot to a movie, and then Disney was like, totally, this is a perfect pitch, let's do it. Ignoring all of the plot holes and all of the inconsistencies, and then they cast Nicolas Cage in it, and I just love that he said yes to that.
I love that movie so much. I don't think it's an 8th grade film. It's that's our American history right there, Elana.
Yeah. Definitely. It's definitely 100% true. There is a bunch of treasure in Lower Manhattan underneath the subway.
I did definitely try and convince my French friends that it was the true story, and they didn't buy it.
No. They're like, you would never get that from us. Obviously, we wouldn't give it to you.
Yeah, exactly. That's the real thing. What is your favorite snack?
My favorite snack, I think, is peanut M&Ms.
That sounds delicious.
It's like a protein and a chocolate.
Yeah, that sounds great. That's how I feel about bubble tea. It's like a drink and a snack at the same time.
Yeah.
You gotta have the dual snack.
You do.
Yeah.
We gotta spread our net wide.
Okay, talk to me about your love of The Bachelor.
So I love The Bachelor just because it's great. It's just it's wonderful television. It's it's Monday night, or I guess now it's Tuesday nights.
I know, it's so weird. How dare
Tuesday
they?
nights. But it's just it's why it just one, it shouldn't exist anymore, but 2, I love that it does. It's just so incredible. Why do we have this still, but we need it?
I need it right now during COVID. That's what I need.
What we need is Tayshia. What we don't need is Claire. I feel strongly about that. Claire was bad for the world, and they realized that and went, you good. And then they gave us Tayshia, and Tayshia is she gives everybody a chance. She wants to hear everybody's story, and she loves everybody equally. She looks the good ones the best, but she's still gonna hear and listen to everybody. And I feel that's what 2020 needs.
That's so
Give
true.
everybody a shot.
Although I really hope Claire and Dale make it. I'm just please, we need this love story to last. If this bombs, then 2020 is where's the success story there? I need that fairy tale.
There's no, yeah. We do need them to at least make it a year. Give it a year. I will count as a success.
I want them to last 2 years so she can keep that ring. Oh my God, it's huge. It's so big.
Yeah, it's the size of her entire first knuckle.
I would be so scared to wear that outside in the world.
It's got to be insured.
I would cut off someone's finger for that. Here, give me your finger.
I mean, she must have it low jacked.
Yeah, seriously. Oh man. Okay, so you're in the theater world. Tell me about your favorite play scene.
So this is a really hard question because I feel there are just so many different types, So if I'm going for a bad musical, just to have a good time, I think it's 100% the Cher show. Stephanie J. Block worked hard on that show, and she was great, but the rest of it was pretty poor, but a great time. And then if you're going for a musical that is actually good, I would say Hadestown. Sorry, there's a dog in the background. We're surrounded by pugs. Hadestown. And then I think my play, this is kind of gonna sound trite, but I think my favorite play is Angels in America. I have a hard time recommending it because it's a solid 6 hours long. But it's a classic, and it's so good, and it makes you want to change the world.
It really does. After you see it, you're like,
Yeah.
I can do anything.
You're like, Reagan is the worst and I want to fix everything.
Okay, and speaking of like bad musicals, you love Mamma Mia.
Me too. I do love Mamma Mia. I love Mamma Mia a lot. I think it's some of Meryl Streep's finest work. I really do. I think like Mamma Mia is just like, it's just so much fun. You take a band of Seyfried and a lot of bad singing and classic Swedish pop tunes, and you put them on a beach in Greece where like Abba's not even from Greece. They're from Sweden, and it doesn't make any sense, but it's so good. It's so fun. And everybody ends up happy. She gets 3 dads. She wanted 1. She gets 3.
It's perfect. Yeah, who doesn't want it? And it just looks so beautiful. I want to go to that island.
It's like, I think Greece is on the top of my list for when we can travel again safely post COVID. I've never been to Greece and I really, really want to go.
You should recreate all of Mamma Mia.
I really want to. I think I definitely have to at least get on a sailboat and sing with my 3 dads and go snorkeling. Like minimum.
Perfect.
Handmade guitar. They'll serenade me. I'll paint a portrait. It'll be great.
Oh my gosh. Can you talk to me a little bit about how you got into theater? So when you're in theater admin and you went from stage management into admin, can you talk a little bit about your journey?
I got into theater kind of as an accident. I was in high school and freaking out about college apps, and I decided that I needed more extracurriculars to get into a good college. And so I started on like technical theater running crew, and I just like really loved it. And so I stage managed in high school, and I went to the University of Michigan and got a BFA in stage management. And kind of while I was there, I was able to take classes in producing and company management, general management, and really get an overarching education in not just theater and the technical aspects of it, but really a full education. And I found that stage management, while I think it's a lot of fun and it's a really big adrenaline rush, and whenever you're calling a show, like I do miss that, but I don't miss freelancing. So one of the reasons that I really love theater admin is that I work year round. I work for one theater. I don't have to bounce around, and I get to kind of see an over arc of a season. Whereas if I were stage managing, I would kind of just be all over the place. But I really like to be able to kind of see holistically. And I love the aspects of theater admin that are more kind of budget crunching and numbers and contracts versus stage management, which is really implementing all of the technical elements. So they're both kind of the same skill set, but one is taking more of a legal and numbers approach to kind of making the place run versus making the play happen.
Yay! They're both so important, and both jobs I never want to have. Yeah, totally different. Yeah, that's awesome though. And what exactly do you do in development? So you're in charge of like the overall numbers. Can you talk a little bit about what it is?
So development is fundraising. And so we are in charge of raising money that does not come from ticket sales. So we are taking philanthropic contributions. So my job in particular is that I am in charge of planned or legacy giving, which is getting donors to leave bequests in their wills, so that when they do pass on, they end up leaving portions of their estate to us, which is a really important and kind of overlooked aspect of fundraising, because it can be a huge revenue stream and something that really does make make theater happen. That's one of the reasons that I really do love fundraising, is that without fundraising for any sort of nonprofit, it just wouldn't exist. It's kind of what's behind the scenes making it run. And often when you see anything that's named, so like if you're taking La Jolla Playhouse, for example, like the Mulitz-Gadetsky lab that is named in a bequest, I'm pretty sure. And that's often how naming rights happen, is that I will give you $1 million and you will name this after me, and then I will kind of live on through this nonprofit. And it's a great way to kind of make a donor feel like they have a lasting impact and that they're important and that they mean something, because they do. And also ensuring the vibrancy and the health of theater moving forward.
Wow, that's really interesting. How do you go about talking to people? And we can cut this if this is too much, but how do you go about asking people to put you in their will?
It's it kind of depends on the type of donor. Planned gifts are really, really popular kind of on a donor that is somebody who doesn't make a lot of money, but is really, really passionate about your organization. So somebody who's like a lower level member, or who travels to, in my case, to London maybe once every 5 years, or they studied abroad there back when they were in their 20s, and they go and see our shows either in New York or in the cinemas, and they've just got this really lasting connection to the institution. And so they feel that even though they don't have the capacity right now to give, say because it's a pandemic or just because they're not exorbitantly wealthy, but they do have a nest egg. So they're afraid to kind of to part with that right now, but they know that once they're not here, it doesn't, they don't have children or they don't have a spouse. And so it's more of a conversation of, what do you envision for theater in the next 15 years or the next 20 years or the next 35 years? And how can we help you accomplish that? So you're not necessarily saying you're not going to be here in the next 15 years, but you're saying, the kids will be, and how
Yeah.
can we ensure that they get the same experience that you got? So
Wow.
it's a lot of
Interesting.
testimonials from other legacy donors, and it's also kind of just pulling on heartstrings a little bit. So I would never go up to someone and use the words death or dying, but I do invoke that sense.
Wow. That's really interesting. I feel like I have some like Catholic guilt that I need to like share and spread. That's wow, that's really interesting. And let's move on to a different topic. You you ran the New York City Marathon last year, which is amazing. You were training for over a year and ran like a number of different runs, like I don't know what that's called. Marathons?
Like
Not marathons.
training runs?
Training ones.
Or races?
Races.
There you go.
But it's amazing that you went for it with the marathon, and that was your first marathon ever. Can you talk about that experience?
Yeah, so I decided to run it because when I moved to New York in, like 2016, I think, I kind of moved there without a plan. I bought a one-way ticket and I was subletting for a few months, and I just kind of was like, this is where I want to be. And it just so happened that I touched down, and then the very next day, I decided to go to Central Park, and the New York City Marathon was happening. And I went, I want to do that. That looks like a lot of fun, and like how incredible. And I did a program called 9+1 with the organization that runs the marathon, where if you run 9 races and volunteer once the year prior, you get to do it. It doesn't matter your time or anything. And so that's what I did. And I spent a good long time training for that. And it was, I want to do it like every year from now on. It was so much fun. Highly recommend. It's just like the whole city comes out for this race, and you run through every single borough, and there's cheers and crowds everywhere, and everyone's got signs. It's like a giant block party across all of New York City, and you end in Central Park, which is just like so perfect.
Oh, it was amazing. And just being able to follow you around last year and see where you were. And she like beat her time, which was amazing, like by a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it was I thought I was gonna go really slow and kind of like soak it all in, but the adrenaline gets to you and just kind of sprint it. But it was so fun. Yeah, it was just like, it was incredible. I loved it. Loved every second of it.
That's amazing.
My whole family came out, and it was so much fun.
Yeah, and just like getting to celebrate afterwards and like seeing everyone cheering you on. Oh, that's just amazing. Yeah, you'll have to pick it up next year when we're
Next year.
around and able to do things.
I was kind of sad earlier this year because they're just like keep kind of continually canceling their like various races that they have. And one of them I was signed up for. It's the New York City half marathon. So you start at Prospect Park, which is like right near my house, and then you end in Central Park, but you run through Times Square.
What?
Which is super cool because then they like close down Times Square for you. And it's like, when does that ever happen?
Never.
And Laura, my sister, turned to me and she goes, you know, you can just do that now because the city's empty. You can just run through Times Square. Like, just go for that. And I'm like, oh my God, you're right. So I'm going to do it myself.
You should.
do the route myself. Yeah.
That is so cool. Wow. Yeah, because there is no one there.
There's no one there. It's crazy empty.
Yeah. I was actually just reading an article in the Times this morning that was asking, like, should Midtown convert like the empty offices into residential places because there's literally no one. And like I was also reading about like the back taxes of like real estate in the area. Like I guess Valentino hasn't paid like $1.5 million, which is what they pay every month for their spot on Fifth Avenue. Like what? That's insane. Like something has to be done with New York or else people aren't going to come back.
No, I was there pretty much through the entire pandemic. And when I would, like the way that I would see my friends is we would like run together. And the route that we would go on like through neighborhoods in Brooklyn, like whenever we were doing it on a Saturday, it was just covered in just like leftover stuff from people moving. It was like a mass exodus. It's crazy.
That's
if you wanted free stuff, then was the time. But
you get free
it's
stuff.
like, I did not get a lot of free stuff. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that part when Columbia moves, because that's where I live, near Columbia, when they all move out and you're like, yes, this printer that I've needed. Ooh, this chair.
God, yeah.
It's great. They're all rich kids. I'm like, this is, I am living my best time.
I was like running through Park Slope and I was like, if I had kids, this would be great. I could steal so many fancy, not steal because they're free, but take so many fancy strollers and stuff. No, but I got like a lot of like end tables and things. Ooh, I didn't want to take anything cloth because that still makes me nervous, but anything I could clean, I was like totally.
Yeah. I got like my dining table for free in the East Village like a couple years ago. It was just like in the trash and I just like left it in my backyard for a couple days and like sprayed it down with Lysol. But
how did you get it all the way up there? Did you like get an Uber?
Taxi.
There we go. Like just carrying a big table on the subway.
Here's my table. But it was free.
I think it's the best. I love that about the city.
I know, it's great. Constant garage sale, but free. Yeah. And something that we always ask on this podcast is, what is your definition of womanhood?
I think my definition of womanhood is like a person that kind of takes on the world. You know, like we are expected to just do everything. And I feel like that can be one overwhelming, but like we do it well, you know, like women run the world, even if it's like behind the scenes. Like you've got Kamala Harris, you know, being Joe Biden's number 2, but like we're still there, we're represented, and we're running the world.
I think that's awesome. Yes, you are running the world too. Keep it up. And if you could give advice to like just a random lady on the street and you just had like a sentence to give her, what would you say?
I think I would say to take every chance. I feel like every job that I have had so far in my life that has been worthwhile has happened by like some crazy connection or some weird fluke where it just kind of appears. And I've never been upset that I took it. And so I think it's just take every opportunity that lands in front of you if you can.
That's amazing. Thank you, Elana.
Yeah.
Take every chance. We should all be doing that. Yeah. And is there anything else you'd like to add to our listeners today?
You know, I don't think so. I think that's all for me.
Thank you so much for being on.